Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is Eisenherz with the second part of my cEDH Masterclass mini-series. Today I'm going to try to explain to you the importance of creating heuristics and how to approach that. Heuristics are methods that enable you to arrive at probable statements or workable solutions with incomplete information and little time. So in the context of cEDH, a heuristic would be a line of sequencing or a specific play pattern that allows you to reach a combo line or a win from any situation, with certain cards available to you but limited information about your opponent's hand cards. Let's look at a common gameplay scenario you might encounter and see how to sequence a win from there. You have Dockside and Wishclaw in play. The Dockside count is at least 8 and you have at least 4 mana available and 2 lands in play. To perform a win from this, you can do the following. Start by activating Wishclaw to find Chain of Vapor. Cast Chain of Vapor targeting Dockside. Sacrifice a land to copy Chain and bounce Wishclaw Talisman. Recast Dockside for 8 treasures. Cast Wishclaw Talisman. Activate Wishclaw to find Underworld Breach. Cast Underworld Breach. Escape Chain of Vapor to target your Dockside. Sacrifice a land to copy Chain and bounce Wishclaw. Cast Dockside for 8 treasures. Recast Wishclaw. Activate Wishclaw to find Brain Freeze. Cast Brain Freeze to mill at least 24 cards off your library. Escape Chain of Vapor to bounce Dockside. Cast Dockside for 9 treasures. Escape Brain Freeze to mill yourself for 33 cards. Repeat escaping Brain Freeze until you mill yourself enough to win via Thassa's Oracle. The baseline heuristic in this situation is that if I have Dockside for 8, Wishclaw Talisman, 4 mana, 2 lands and 2 cards in graveyard available, I can present a winning line via Underworld Breach. Once you understand this line, know all the necessary details and the sequencing is engraved in your memory, you can deviate from it by changing some variables, like for example by assuming that the Dockside count is only 7. In that specific situation, the line itself remains the same, but your initial resource requirements change, the additional heuristic being that for every treasure below 8, you need 2 more mana available as a starting requirement. This is just one example of a game-winning line based on a specific yet common gameplay scenario that builds the baseline for multiple deviating lines. You can expand this approach to not only specific tutoring lines and combos, but also to gameplay patterns for specific decks, which will allow you to understand more profoundly what cards to mulligan for, what hands to keep, and what purpose certain cards have in a deck. The main question that remains is how to create such heuristics. Step 1. Explore. When goldfishing and during pickup games, try to be a little bit more experimental and explore your deck and lines. Sometimes trying a new tutoring line or mulligan approach can teach you a lot about what is a good sequence and what is probably bait or too wonky. If you focus on specific cards and their potential, you can come up with new connections or at the very least learn from failure. Step 2. Mental map. The next step would be to, over time, create a mental map of all cards you play and the inherent synergies those cards have with each other. This process takes time and experience. But over time, the map you create should grow and be more integrated, so more connections should occur. Step 3. Network integration. Additionally, a more conscious and focused approach can be helpful to actively search for new lines and play patterns. This is commonly referred to as goldfishing, but to create heuristics, we go about it more orderly. Don't just take an opener and click through your game actions to present a combo. Instead, look at specific scenarios and play them out while typing out all the steps included, all the necessary and available resources such as mana, life, cards in play, cards in graveyard and specific hate pieces or interaction that can stop your line. Step 4. Take notes. Sometimes you come up with a line just by chance after noticing something new, evaluating a game or seeing someone else take certain game actions. By taking notes, evaluating games and looking for errors in your sequencing, you can try to deviate from what you initially did, or you can try to recreate what exactly you did in order to come up with new lines and assess whether or not certain lines are realistic, resource intensive, secure, or simply not worth going for. This concept of creating these kinds of heuristics and a mental map of your cards also neatly ties into a point I made in my last video. In order to automate your game actions and have them be carried by your long-term processing memory, you will need to create overlapping associations between cards and lines to relieve your short-term working memory from carrying too much information at once. Be aware though that all of these approaches take focus, time, and of course energy. As a little extra, I want you to try to find the best line you can think of for this specific scenario. The answer will be pinned in the comment section below. And that's it. I hope you could learn something today to improve your game. Special thanks go out to Firlo for taking the time to explain this concept and his approach to me and coming up with these exemplary lines. He's one of the most skilled and knowledgeable cEDH players and probably the best Rockside pilot I know, and also just a super chill dude in general. And also thank all of you for watching my videos. Make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe. This is Eisenherz and auf Wiedersehen.